Hey, Brian, how you doing?
How you doing, Wade? Thanks for being on the Soscia Network. But the thing is this, I'm a little disappointed. I'm not going to lie.
What's that?
I thought Ken the Box was calling in.
Oh, Ken the Box. He's a big hero of mine. Justin Gabriel turned me onto him, actually.
I saw that on Twitter, your Twitter, and I was like, I got to check this out. I actually watched it last night. So thanks to @WadeBarrett on Twitter and, Justin Gabriel, too, because that was good stuff. If you've never seen it, you got to look it up on YouTube. Just type in Ken the Box. Best wrestling gimmick ever.
Yeah, it's great. My favorite thing is looking at the fans in the background on YouTube and watching their reactions to him. He's a very cool cat.
It's hilarious. But now I really want to talk about your career. And, Wade Barrett on the line from WWE, pregame pandemonium. This Sunday, Wade, it's going to be great. And you can see it before the big game, 1 o'clock. And you're taking on Rey Mysterio Jr., and that's going to be an interesting match.
That's right. It's going to be my first ever singles match with Rey Mysterio. We came into contact a couple of times during the Royal Rumble this past Sunday, and I'm really looking forward to getting getting to go with Rey Mysterio in a one-on-one situation this Sunday in Philly.
You going to try to rip that mask off, I hope?
Well, I think that's everyone's aim. As soon as you step in the ring with Mysterio, tear that mask off, humiliate him a little. But very excited about the match. It should be a lot of fun.
Now, what's the game plan? You're going to take his knees out because he's a flyer, right?
I don't know about taking his knees out. I think I just need to get close enough to him to, once I got my hands on him, I think he can't get away. I think the problem with him, he's so fast, moves so quickly that he's difficult to try and pin down. But once I've got him, I'm going to bully him. I'm going to terrorize him. I'm going to really go out there to hurt him.
I think the poor guy's taking his own knees out anyway. You might not have to do that. Now, Wade, that's going to be, tickets start at just $20. Best value in family entertainment by far. Before you became a professional wrestler, you were a tough guy, a bare-knuckle boxer. Tell us about that.
Well, I was bare-knuckle fighting in the UK just after I finished in university. It was a very interesting way to earn money. It was a very... the legality of it was quite dubious, so it's not something I've really talked about too much in the past. But, it was a way of earning money at the time. I did okay at it. I did pretty well. My nose tells a lot of stories. It's so bent out of shape now. But eventually I decided I wanted to come to the States and earn some real money with the WWE and trying to get to the top here and win some titles with WWE. So that's my goal these days.
You're doing a great job with that, Wade. I noticed when you wrestle that your hair never moves. When you get punched in the face, did your hair move then? What do you put in your hair to keep it?
I have very good quality hair gel. It's called Super Glue. And it does exactly what it says on the tin.
Super glue. All right, well, after you left the bare-knuckle boxing world, you started to train. That's what every wrestler does. And one of the guys that I'm pretty sure trained you was Al Snow.
Well, I was actually only with Al Snow for quite a short period of time. That was when I first left the UK, where I'd probably been wrestling for about 3 years on the independent scene, and first came to the States. And I maybe worked with Al for probably 4 or 5 months with OVW before WWE closed that down and sent us all to Florida to work with FCW. So in terms of my trainers, I mean, Al has certainly been one of my trainers in the States. I've also been trained by Norman Smiley, Dr. Tom Pritchard, Billy Kidman, Steve Kern, and Dusty Rhodes as well. So I've had a lot of people with a lot of experience training me. But in terms of Al Snow, I think the key thing I learned from him was when I first came over to the UK, I wasn't too good on the psychology of American professional wrestling, and Al really imprinted into me how to tell a story in the ring, how you should behave as a bad guy, as it were, versus a good guy and stuff like that. I mean, psychology-wise, Al's really got that nailed down. So that was probably the thing I took from Al Snow.
Now, this was after you made your debut, because from what I've read, I mean, I know about you, but I didn't know some of the finer points. I didn't realize you debuted at 21 years old. That was at Stu Sanders, NWA Hammerlock Wrestling. Now,
yeah, that isn't actually true. There's a lot of stuff online that isn't true. That is one of them. I actually decided to become a professional wrestler at 21 years old, but I was very, very skinny at the time. I was maybe 6'6", probably about 160 pounds. So at the age of 21, I started working out and beefing myself up to become a professional wrestler, but I didn't actually start training to be a wrestler until early 2004. So there's some stuff online that's been put out there that people misunderstand and sort of put out there. But yeah, it's actually 2004 I made my debut.
Okay, they're making you a veteran before your time. So when you made your yeah, right? When you made your debut, everybody when they start out in the wrestling business has to have like an embarrassing story, something weird that happened, because you're just starting. It's like anything else.
Sure. Oh, I mean, I had, on the UK independent scene, I had more than my fair share of, of bad matches. I was very green, as it were, and I had several occasions where I'd be in the ring and we'd be putting on a terrible match. I'd be in there with a veteran or someone who likes to think of themselves as a veteran and likes to think they'd be able to lead somebody through a match and wasn't really capable of it, in fact. But yeah, I mean, there's not one particular story that stands out, but yeah, I mean, I had my fair share of bad matches at the beginning like everybody else.
Okay, well, again, I'm on the phone with Wade Barrett, pregame pandemonium this Sunday, 1 o'clock. Go there before the game. He's taking on Rey Mysterio. CM Punk's going to be there versus John Cena, Randy Orton versus The Miz, Edge versus Kane. It's going to be huge. Tickets start at just $20. And Wade, you spoke about OVW when WWE brought you in. That's huge. That's got to be a big thing for you. And then you went to FCW. Now, I've read in plenty of places that Batista's made the comment that he learned nothing in OVW. How did you feel about your time in OVW in the developmental system?
No, I mean, I certainly learned a lot in OVW. I basically went from an independent setup in the UK where I wasn't particularly well knowledgeable about how to work in America and the American wrestling style. And I came to the UK and it really brushed me up very quickly. I think I improved tenfold in the 5 months I was in OVW, so I certainly learned a lot. But, you know, that was my personal experience. I've heard the other side of the coin as well, where people have said they went there and didn't learn too much. I mean, everyone has their own experience, and mine was very positive from OVW.
Yeah, I mean, where you're at today, it must have worked very well. You must have learned something. What about your promos? Your promos are just killer. They're really good.
Oh, thank you.
Was that like, just a natural thing, or were you taught that in OVW or FCW or maybe by like a veteran or something?
I think in terms of the promos, I've certainly done a lot of work with Dusty Rhodes on the promo side of things. He's a specialist in that area. Obviously, he's one of the greatest in history. But in terms of that, I've also been very lucky with my voice. I've got a very strong, deep voice that tends to make people pay attention. I've done jobs in the past where I've been sort of doing sales and face-to-face sales or phone sales and things like that. So that's also helped with my presentation and my projection of my voice and that sort of thing. But yeah, a lot of it's natural, but a lot of it is acquired from being taught by somebody like Dusty Rhodes.
Well, if anybody's going to teach you the art, because that's what it is, of promos, Dusty Rhodes would be a great guy to learn from. And I think a lot of people, really don't realize that, Wade. Wrestling is an art. It's like you have to learn little nuances and stuff, from promos to ring work. Now, can you take me through how you found out that they were going to bring you up for NXT? I mean, it must have been pretty exciting for a guy that's trying to break in.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that was obviously season 1 of NXT that I was brought up for. So at the time, it was a brand new show. We probably found out, the 8 guys who were going to be on the show, we found out probably about a week before the rest of the world found out when they announced it on WWE programming. And when we found out, we were a little apprehensive because there was a lot of rumor going around, a lot of hearsay about what the show was going to consist of. We heard that it was going to be a reality show, which immediately made us think it was going to be like Tough Enough, and we were going to be living in a house together, and we would be filmed 24/7, which obviously none of us really wanted to do anyway. But it was a big relief when we found out that wasn't the case, and we got the opportunity to be on the NXT show and work with guys like Chris Jericho and CM Punk and William Regal, and a lot of the top stars with a wealth of experience that we could learn from. And once we heard that, we were very excited by it, and it was finally a huge opportunity for us that we'd all been working for a long time.
You worked with all these stars, by the way. Regal, amazing, best European uppercut I've ever seen. But you mentioned Jericho. Okay, Chris Jericho, yeah. That's the guy. I mean, coming up, not only did you get to help out debut a new NXT TV show for WWE, a major company, but then you walk in and they're like, we're pairing you up with Chris Jericho. When you worked with Chris Jericho, now I don't know if that was just for TV or what, but there had to be some stuff you learned from Chris Jericho, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, Jericho's been a great influence for me. I mean, from the very beginning, he was very, very much trying to help me out and give it 100%. The thing I noticed about Jericho was that this show, NXT at the time, season 1, it was never going to matter to his career. It was never going to make or break Chris Jericho. He was never going to get anywhere further